I'm very, very honored to have with me today Dr. M.J. Augustin Vinod.
Just because your relationship is good with one country, but they are giving you something which is not optimally fitting your security needs, you go ahead and buy that as something which is not in the best interest of the country. There are places where if you don't hold that post, enemy comes and occupies that post during winters, and we saw that during Kargil. This talk is also keeping our security requirement in mind and our technological requirement in mind.
If India already had an agreement with Russia with Su-57, then where are we today? I think even if India manages to get to a stage where we are buying the F-35s from the Americans, will it be like the Sukhois? Will it be a proper technology transfer? F-35s, do they have any particular advantages over India's current fleet?
Technology. When Pakistan got F-16, we didn't have any. We didn't have Mirage 2000, we didn't have MiG-29, we didn't have Sukhois, nothing.
Strategy right now, what President Trump offered India, does it have anything to do with counterbalance China? Both in case of US and in Russia, that a lot many times, this delay in delivery, is it something deliberate?
So one vendor does say control vane, actuator mechanism of the right side of the missile. There is another vendor who makes the left side of the missile. Right wala doesn't know who's making left wala doesn't know who's making right. Both of them don't know what are they making it for.
If India were to go with the Su-57s, do you think we risk any kind of US sanctions under the CATSA? So in defense sector, privatization, has it already taken off, or do you think we still have some way to go?
It's 100% privatized. ISRO doesn't make anything.
Can't really let you go without asking you this. The current debate that's going on with regards to the Indian Air Force chief's comments. Hello, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome. Today, we are going to be discussing something very, very exciting and interesting. India currently stands at a critical crossroads in its defense strategy. Should it opt for the American F-35 Lightning II, the Russian Su-57 Felon, or double down on its own AMCA stealth fighter program? As Prime Minister Modi and US President Trump discuss deeper defense cooperation, the debate over India's next generation fighter jet intensifies. In this episode, we break down the technical capabilities, geopolitical implications, and strategic choices behind these aircrafts. Will India align more closely with the US by acquiring the F-35? Or will it maintain its historic ties with Russia through the Sukhoi 57? And how does China's growing air power influence this decision? Let's dive into the details and explore what's next for India's air dominance. Now, I'm very, very honored to have with me today Dr. M.J. Augustin Vinod as our guest. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. A retired group captain of the Indian Air Force, Dr. Vinod is a seasoned fighter pilot with extensive experience flying the MiG-21s and the Mirage 2000s. Beyond his military career, he has transitioned into academia and research, earning an MPhil and a PhD in strategic studies and international relations. Vinodji's unique blend of practical military experience and academic insight makes him exceptionally qualified to discuss India's defense strategies and the considerations surrounding the acquisition of advanced fighter jets like the F-35 and the Sukhoi 57. Thank you so much, Vinodji, for your time today. I'm absolutely delighted to have you with me. So I'll start with something. One of the most critical events of this year happened, of course, a couple of days ago when Prime Minister Modi and President Trump met. And one of the critical outcomes of that meeting, obviously, was the potential defense deal that could happen between India and the US. So, according to you, just give us a bird's eye view of your opinion that what do you think were the major defense agreements or discussions that emerged from this meeting of Prime Minister Modi and President Trump?
So I guess this was, I mean, that's, before we talk about that, what is important for us to understand is post 2014, that is post Modi ji's taking over as Prime Minister, um, the our security needs and technological needs and the amount that we are going to spend those to get that kind of technology has been in the forefront, and not diplomatic relations has been in the forefront, which is a very heartening thing to do, because just because your relationship is good with one country, but they are giving you something which is not optimally fitting your security needs, you go ahead and buy that, is something which is not in the best interest of the country. So towards that, Urmiji, what happened is we went with C-130Js for the first time. After a long time, we had American aeroplane joining the Indian Air Force, and that time I was still serving. I retired in 2019. So C-130J is a very capable aircraft. C-130, that airframe. So if you talk about the airframe is like this box, you know. So what I put in this box makes this box worth it. I may put a pen or I may put a mouse. So what I put in this box makes the box, that increases or decreases the worth of the box. So airframe is like the box. So C-130J flew in 1956, the first flight. But if you look at C-130 of 1956 and C-130 of today, it's completely different. It is like the difference between a baby boomer and probably a Gen X or Gen Alpha. So that is the kind of differences that it has. For example, the C-130J that we have has a door artillery gun. So it functions like an artillery, airborne artillery. It has, there's something called station keeping equipment. That means 4 or 5 C-130Js can fly together without the intervention of the pilot automatically. So it's the station keeping equipment is there. It can do something like a blind drop. So if it is raining, pouring, fog, or what have you, it can blindly drop accurately in our forward posts without visually seeing. Till date, we had to visually see a place to drop a place, because many places is air maintained, in the sense the soldiers are sitting there, but their food, water, clothes, medicine, everything is dropped by parachute. And that is how we secure our borders. I mean, unlike UK, where probably the tallest mountain is few thousand feet high, here we have the tallest mountains in the world. And there are places where if you don't hold that post, enemy comes and occupies that post during winters, and we saw that during Kargil. Today, we don't vacate any post. Those days, with mutual understanding with the enemy, you would say, okay, come winters, you go down to foothills, I'll go down to foothills, but status quo remains. That is not the case anymore post Kargil. During Kargil, during winters itself, they came and occupied that post, and that is how we took a couple of months to push them back, and we lost so many soldiers pushing them back. So C-130J or any aeroplane is, like I said, is like a box. So C-130Js joined our fleet, followed by C-5 Galaxies. outside NATO and even in NATO, outside US, there are very few countries who have that kind of airlift capability which C5 Galaxies give us. Then, while I was still there, in fact, I was as a director of air defense when we inducted Apache attack helicopters, not only in the Indian Air Force, but also we have inducted them in the Indian Army. Apache attack helicopters have the radar on top of the rotor. So it can go sit behind a dune and still see the enemy. So those kind of technology was acquired not because that we had good relationship with US. That was not the prime reason. The prime reason was that our security requirement demanded that we have these equipment. So towards that, this talk is also keeping our security requirement in mind and our technological requirement in mind. Not because we want to warm up with Trump or anything like that. And as we speak, there is no decision that has been taken whether it will be an F-35 or Su-57. And my money is on AMCA. But to leapfrog to AMCA to take to, say, a good standard in shorter period of time, we may have to align with one of them, basically to short circuit the time. So that way, F-35 will be a good deal. But because it is a single engine fighter and it already had 3 crashes because it is a single engine fighter, is something that is not going to go down well with many uh, people in the armed forces. So maybe less numbers of F-35 and we get inspired by F-35 and work in AMCA. While buying F-35, we hope there will be some kind of technology transfer, which Russians are offering. The entire Su-57, they are offering to us. Not many people know, probably through this podcast, people will come to know. We already had a stake in Su-57. In fact, when Su-57 started, it was christened T-50. And it was a combined project between India and uh, Russia for T-50, which was later christened as Su-57.
So what happened? What changed? Did anything change? If India already had an agreement with Russia with Su-57, then where are we today with regards to that?
Good question. Good question. So we pulled out of the deal because of certain disagreement in terms of who will own a particular technology, because we were supposed to build it together. Second disagreement at that time, what came in open domain, I'm saying. What happened inside, I am not privy to. Second was that time we were expected to shell out certain amount of money towards building this project, which probably we didn't agree to for what we were getting. And that is how we pulled out of the project T50. In fact, you can Google it. It's there. I'll request people to Google it. What I'm saying is already there in the open domain. So we pulled out of project T50 because of these two reasons is what I know of. So the bang for the buck was not there. So today, if they are going to give us the TOT, it will be for much bigger bang for the buck than the buck they were expecting at that time. This I'm saying 5, 7, 8 years ago. But since the time we pulled out, we have reached to a certain level as far as AMCA is concerned. AMCA, we are looking to fly the first aeroplane in less than 5 years, which I'm very confident we will, because my batchmate is the one who's the chief test pilot currently in HAL, and I know him. He is a go-getter. And if he says X is the timeline, it will be not X plus, it will be X minus, unless something really drastically changes. But he is hopeful that within the given timeline, we will fly AMCA. And AMCA is our 5th generation fighter.
That's absolutely fascinating to know. So, as far as then the F-35s are concerned, how realistic do you think it is the possibility? I know nothing has been finalized as yet, formalized as yet. It's just that President Trump has just mentioned And as usual, everybody's jumping up and down. It's almost as if everything is done. But
Mhm.
how realistic do you think it is? Is it actually going to be possible? And technology transfer, do you think even if India manages to get to a stage where we are buying the F-35s from the Americans, will it be like the Sukhois? Will it be a proper technology transfer, or how do you think the whole thing is going to play out?
Good question. There for that for to answer this question, I go back to my original prop of the box. So F-35 is this box, okay? What you see, but what goes inside F-35 is very, very important, and they are some niche technology, not necessarily confined to F-35 itself. Okay, let me demystify that a little further. The software. So it has something called, earlier we used to talk about the data bus. We didn't talk about the software. We said, okay, in the particular data bus, which is MIL 1553, um, the protocol in which you called somebody will not understand what did I say. You got the point? So earlier bus, before MIL 1553 bus, was an encrypted bus. That is the bus the original Mirage 2000 is built on. So when they sold you the aeroplane, they did not sell you the decrypting technology of the bus. Okay. Secondly, it is all it's all business requirement. You see, even that route people took in the bus, which was older than MIL 1553 bus. Okay. So then the world said this is like, holding people to ransom when they buy something. Now you're telling them that you cannot add on your technology on top of my aeroplane unless you pay me for the bus. And sometimes the decryption technology for the bus, the amount they were charging was more than the aeroplane itself. So that is the kind of arm twisting people used to do. The next technology is the operating system itself. So coming back to my prop, the prop is here. And the operating system which goes into the prop is called the RTOS, real-time operating system. Now we are no longer talking about bus. Bus can be anything, but the operating system is something which is of importance. Now, when you're talking about the operating system also, RTOS is different from, say, traditional operating system. A traditional operating system has a certain amount of latency. RTOS has very little latency. So it is extremely fast and extremely responsive and very light because it is compiled in binary. And you're not doing a high level talking and converting that to binary to do talking amongst other things. So RTOS is one technology. So we need to understand when we buy this aeroplane, if the RTOS also comes to us, it will not come to us. I can tell you that much because to develop RTOS itself, countries take few decades. If you're going to get the same RTOS on top of F-35, but that will also be, what do you say? It will be a step back because the RTOs that we have today, that we have developed for AMCA, is better than the RTOs that F-35 will come with. So our RTOs is
Really?
on
Okay.
X86 at much
Okay.
higher bit rate than the RTOs that is there in F-35. So
Wow.
F-35 is in 16-bit RTOs and we are X86-bit, 64-bit RTOs. So
Wow. Okay.
we are talking a step back in technology. So we'll take F-35 and we'll say if we will probably ask for that we will upgrade it to our RTOS so that it sort of talks to or it is in consonance with our existing RTOS, which will be there in our other aeroplanes. This is technology one. Now let's talk about other things that will go into this box. Like
Mhm.
I put this pen. So the pen is a missile, AM-9X or AM-120. Those kind of missiles are going to come. How many missiles are we going to buy along with F-35s? Because F-35 itself has wide variety of weapons that it can carry. So if you are going on an air-to-ground mission, say, you will want to carry, you can carry a dumb bomb. A dumb bomb meaning a bomb which is unguided. It's like a rock that you drop. But if you have technology which will allow you to drop the rock to fall on exactly on top of the head, so that technology also needs to come along. Yeah, if that technology comes along and in a certain area, a simple dumb bomb, dumb as in it doesn't have intelligence of its own, suffices us, suffices our requirement, in which case we may not go for joint JTAM. See, so JTAM is another kind of air-to-ground missile, which is a next version of joint direct attack munition. So it has its own intelligence. So if my security requirement is such that I need the smart weapon also, then I will buy that, because a dumb weapon will cost say 2 sterling pounds. A smart weapon will cost at least 200 sterling pounds. That is the price difference. Or maybe 2000 sterling pounds. That is the price difference. So I may want all those technologies to come with it so that my AMCA, I can use that technology which I bought or technology transferred from F-35, I can use in another aeroplane. This is something that people need to understand. If they don't understand this, they will question, why have you paid so much for a particular aeroplane? So it is just not buying a box. It is, I need to buy this pen, I need to buy this dumb rock or a smart rock. I need to buy so many other things, which not all the things that I need to buy. Also, I need how your RTOS functions, your bus functions, so that I can add on my technology, because already I have certain weapons with me. I have already developed those weapons which I can carry in many aeroplanes. For example, Mika missile. I'm carrying on Mirage 2000, I'm carrying on Rafale. I already have hundreds of Mika missiles. I want to carry it in F-35 also. So hundreds of such rock is available with me. I should have the capability to carry this rock not only in F-35 but also in other aeroplanes. So that also I will buy.
Oh,
But
I see. Okay.
Su-57 as an aeroplane,
Mm-hmm.
as a pure box, is better
Okay.
than F-35, because F-35 is single engine, Su-57 is twin engine.
Does the
Su-57
F-35s, sorry, yeah.
is one engine. That's the
Oh,
problem.
okay. Okay.
It's a single
So
engine
does
fighter.
the F-35s, do they have any particular advantages over India's current fleet, like the
Technology.
Tejas or the Rafales? So
Technology. So lot of
technology,
like
okay.
RTOS is one technology, missile technology, the electronic warfare capability, electronic support measures, that eavesdropping capability while it is flying. It can carry confirm fuel and weapons inside the aeroplane, not outside. Nothing is hanging on the aeroplane. Everything is inside. So lot of such great advantages F-35 as an aeroplane has, which we need to develop for AMCA. I say again, which we need to develop for AMCA, which will take us some time to develop. So to short circuit the time, if we buy this technology, then instead of 10 years or 15 years, we'll only spend probably 3 to 5 years adopting that to AMCA. Eventually, AMCA is the way to go. Two reasons. A, F-35 is extremely expensive. So if we need 100, we don't have the money to buy 100. B, I can develop that at a much lower cost so that I can have 100 F-35 like aeroplane in my arsenal by paying less money to HAL because HAL will produce it at a fraction of a cost. C, I can export that tomorrow and make money. So AMCA is the way to
No.
go. And I
I-
need F-35 to short circuit the time
Yeah,
to get AMCA
my
up
question was
fastest.
that AMCA, what is the time frame? What is the time frame realistically that we are looking at then for AMCA?
I come back to my prop again.
Yeah.
AMCA box I can fly in less than 5 years. But rest of the things that go into AMCA will take time. That I can short circuit if I buy F-35. From
So
10 to
how,
5 years, maybe.
okay, so that means then if you are looking at a 10-year time frame, that means for the next 10 years at least, we have to make do with the current fleet that the Indian Air Force has, and
If we don't
potentially.
go the F-35 way, but if we go the F-35 way, we can halve the time for AMCA.
So, are you saying that there is might be a realistic possibility that India might own both the F-35s and the Sukhois? Might
AMCA,
be the
of
only
course,
country in the world to have both technologies with us?
we currently have, see, how did Tejas reach where it reached? Because we already had Mirage 2000. So Tejas, a lot of design aspects of Tejas is inspired, not copied. We are not like Chinese. Is inspired from Mirage 2000. Or in some case, we have bought the technology from French.
So, how does the Chinese fifth generation aircraft come into the picture here?
They
This
have
whole
two engines,
equation. They have two engines as well.
which is they have two engines. That is not the point. Point is Chinese already have it, and they are our northern enemy, and they are going to give it to Pakistan. They are our western enemy.
The China
Let
one,
them
is it a
have.
proper fifth gen, or is it because there is a lot of
So they have
things that
two
are
now. They
okay?
have two. They had J20, which they have shelved because J20, though they called it an FGFA, it truly was not because Australia did a study uh, on J20. J20 was not truly a fifth gen fighter. It was 4.5 or 4.75 gen. So they have shelved that and now they have come up with, I think, one of their new version, which they test flew already. So one of them, either J20 or the new FGFA, is what that will be given to Pakistan. So that is scary. Really, really scary.
Absolutely. And do you think that the US strategy right now, what President Trump offered India, does it have anything to do with counterbalance China? Or, do you think there is a geopolitically?
200%. If they give you F-35, there is a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people who understand a little bit of geopolitics would
Hmm.
um, yeah, would take that, would understand that. Um, I
Just
also
because
wanted to
you're
know,
his friend, he'll come and stand by you, forget it. Bhul
yeah.
jao.
नहीं वो तो है, definitely.
Hmm.
I also wanted to ask you that what do you think India would face as a challenge in integrating the F-35s into its air force,
No
given
challenge.
really
Zero
because a
challenge.
lot of people on social media were saying that the existing Russian origin aircrafts, so the integration might be a little complex, or some people were even saying that it won't be possible. I mean, they were not experts, but that's why I just thought I'll ask you
So
that.
we've been having it for a while, no? Mirage 2000 and Rafale are co-fighting with Sukhoi 30. We are using them in mixed mode. We've been using them for decades now. So we know how to, marry a Russian and an American in an Indian environment.
So, does it mean that the F-35s potentially could also reduce India's dependency on Russian aircrafts, or you
We don't
think
have
that the
any
relationship
dependency on Russian aircraft. After
really?
Sukhoi 30,
Okay,
we've not bought anything from Russia. After
okay.
Sukhoi 30, we've not bought anything. Today, Russia is fighting Ukraine war and they are woefully short of equipment. We have S-400 deals pending with them. They have not been able to
Yeah, I was
deliver.
about to say that including the S-400 missile defense systems. So you're saying that
They have
there's no
not been able to
dependency
deliver
on.
on time. It's more than 1.5 years. They have
Okay.
fallen back on what they are supposed to deliver to us.
So the Sukhoi 57s and the F-35s, I mean, strictly,
Yeah.
if we were to compare it as per stealth, avionics, and combat capability, what
Mm.
would you say? I mean, would you say that they're at par, or is there any significant difference between the two, or any obvious thing where India might tilt towards one more than the other?
I'll use another example for this. Say the top three of beauty pageants. They are all 19-20 ka farak hai. Now, who gets crowned as Miss Universe is anybody's guess. So it is like that in Su-57 and F-35. They are both FGFA. They have certain capability better than the other. It all boils down to what is our requirement. F-35 gives us, F-35 is a VTOL, VSTOL. So short takeoff and vertical landing. That suits us because we have two and the third aircraft carrier is coming up. So F-35 can operate with Navy. Su-57 we have to has something called a catobar facility. So for operating a Su-57 atop a Navy carrier, we may have to do some modifications on existing carrier fleet. I think those two aspects, I would today say F-35 as an edge because my AMCA needs F-35. So my children needs a good mother.
Why do you say AMCA needs the F-35 more than the Su-57?
Good question. AMCA technology, the F-35 technology, things that are put inside the F-35 are better. They are current, they are better, they perform at a larger range, they perform better in a high contested environment, including high electronic warfare environment.
What you mentioned that India previously had shown an interest in co-developing the Su-57, but
P-50,
then
yeah.
withdrew. Yeah, but then withdrew. Is there any chance of India reconsidering that and maybe resume this in future? Or
Yeah, this question is a good question.
Mhm.
Now, that like I said, this is my view. But when expert panel sits from the Air Force, they have a certain, we call it the OR, operational requirement. So we first plot our OR, and it's a very scientific process, Urmiji, and people who listen to you. It's a very scientific process. We first plot what all is our operational requirement. Then we weigh the operational requirement. Certain operational requirement are weighed against a certain operational requirement. Then I scientifically work out all parameters one against the other. And then I come to a conclusion whether I need F-35 or Su-57, and that, as we speak, must be going on. I did that for many weapon systems. Then we say, okay, Su-57 or F-35 it is. What I told you, my money is on F-35 because I want AMCA to succeed. And I said it
Yeah,
without going through this scientific process as a wishful Indian citizen.
absolutely, absolutely. No, absolutely.
But tomorrow, if they say Su-57, because then I will put my money on Su-57 for simple reason. It has gone through all the process which I have done for many weapon systems. And I will trust those professionals who have done this.
So, are there any specific parameters that the Indian Air Force would be looking at that you can share with us
Very good
in
question again.
deciding?
That all again is what is my threat perception today and what is my expected threat perception for tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. The threat perception
So
is
here's the
what it is
key.
today, may not be tomorrow. Tomorrow the perception
So
might change. So it has to
I
be
will crystal
adaptable.
gaze my threat perception. And there is a department which does this crystal gazing.
As far as the you did share with us that the time frame, the approximate time frame of the AMCA. But what do you think is the future? Are we targeting fifth generation, or are we aspiring to
Sixth.
be really okay? That's exciting as well.
Sixth is on the drawing table already.
Okay. So who would we be competing against then? Our sixth
No,
generation.
sixth will be completely with Swadeshi. Sixth is not
Okay.
going to be Videshi. At least
At
as of
all,
now. Yeah.
including the
Which is
engines?
why I need AMCA to work. If fifth works well, see, we are building our castle one on top of the other, isn't it? So we had reached some level of experience in HF-24 Marut, which gave us a fillip to work towards Tejas, which then we used to call it LCA, the Light Combat Aircraft. 1984, we first finalized its drawing, and the same drawing, more or less, is what is flying today, 1984 to till today. And on top of that, we are building AMCA. On top of that, we'll build our sixth generation fighter, and sixth generation fighter is going to be completely Swadeshi. By then, we would have exported, I think, some of our Swadeshi to some of our Videshi friends.
So this is again a 10-year time frame. That's what we are looking at approximately.
Maybe more.
Maybe a bit more. Okay,
Yeah, that is realistically, but my heart wants it at 8 years
of
or
course.
7 years.
So, Vinodji, what is your, I mean, this is probably more of an opinion than, so I can't really let you go without asking you this. The current debate that's going on with regards to the Indian Air Force chief's comments that came out on social media. So
I know,
you
I
being
have
an
talked a lot
expert,
about it.
I know you've spoken a lot about it, but it is still creating a bit of a stir. And I told you I come from a family of, so there are a lot of things which probably I would understand because I have seen it, I've heard it, and but a lot of people, lot of people who do not come from a background in the military, for them it's hard to understand. So that part I get, but what I don't get or what I don't understand and I don't agree with is the judgments, because obviously the pressure and the responsibilities under which all the armed services chiefs are working, I don't think any of us have any idea. So so passing judgments is the easier part, but you being an expert, so if you can just let us know that what are your thoughts and exactly how would you describe this whole situation. That would be very helpful for our viewers to understand.
Great question. See, a couple of things, Urmiji. First of all, if you look at the original recording, it has a lot of background noise, and someone with a really good unidirectional mic picked up this conversation happening between a client, a customer, and the OEM. So it was a talk that was on the ladder of an aeroplane. I am most certain that there is no way Chief would have had any idea that a talk between two people can get recorded using such high technology in which you are able to isolate the noise and enhance the voice for the sake of the world or India. So that is point number one. Point number two, what he said is that he expected a certain timeline or a time frame which didn't happen. Minus the engine. See, engine here again dependent on General Electric, and I wrote an article on it. It's there on the internet. In fact, I tweeted about it also. Page number 48 of I think Indian Defense Review. There's a magazine. I've written an article on Kaveri engine in which I've covered what is the issues with General Electric engines. So when we're dependent on critical technology with a certain country, and their priorities are different from yours. Their priority is Russia-Ukraine war. So they have 90% of their production ability and capability has been directed towards that side. And I just said, US has only permanent interest, and General Electric is a profit-making company. So if the profit margins are higher in Ukraine-Russia war, why will he not sell his mall in Ukraine-Russia war and earn a bigger profit and a better bottom line than giving some couple of engines to India and thereby have a worse bottom line? So, which is the reason why he is focusing that side and not on your side. And he knows even if he is not honoring the black and white signed contract, you can do nothing about it. So he is delaying the engines, which is a blessing in disguise because now that is pushing us to get the Kaveri engine up faster than we otherwise would have. So I should see Kaveri engine flying on a Tejas or any other aeroplane, not later than 2 years, which is a good time. In which case our AMCA could fly with Kaveri engine or a version of a Kaveri engine than any G414 or any SNECMA or any Safran engine. So it's a good thing. Bad thing because now the numbers that we need is not there. And which is what Chief said, why aren't you in mission mode? But expecting mission mode from a completely civilian organization is again a tall order, which is a wishful thinking. But it is like any other civilian organization, whether here or London. They work in their own sweet time, in their own looking at their own sweet perks, their benefits, insurance, medical, blah blah blah, and work of course comes way below those priorities, which is unlike Forge.
Because
The
this
thing is
is
what
this is not just any other civilian job, isn't it, Vinodji? This is, though it is a civilian job, but this is to do with national security and national security in the highest order. This is the Indian Armed Forces and Indian Air Force that we are talking about. So here, complacency is something that we just can't afford to have. So how long do you think it'll take us to reach that
number
and
is a
for our
good
fleet
question,
to
and
be?
it is contingent upon so many things. For example, if I buy 7 squadrons of F-35, we can reach there tomorrow. As opposed to if I buy 1 squadron of F-35 and work on my AMCA and work on my Tejas Mark 1 and 1 Alpha, maybe 10 years. So the time frame is anywhere between tomorrow to 10 years.
BRICS versus Quad.
Uh,
Your
Oh,
take.
it's a great question, but see, you know why Gaddafi was taken down or Saddam was taken down because
I
they
think we
were
all know
trying
that.
to
Yeah.
trade oil in their currency, petrodollars. If you're going to question petrodollars, if you're going to somehow challenge petrodollars, the dollar makers are not going to sit idle and watch you, pull the rug from their feet. They're not going to allow you to do that. They'll give you a good fight. Then now you'll have to find a balance whether you want to give it back or do a tightrope walk or reorganize yourself. That is all being discussed, thought about, war gamed as we speak on various factors, and we'll arrive at a conclusion, hopefully, down the road. Only thing is, my only gripe is we don't talk
Mhm.
about it to people, public, population, because if we do, they will be at so much peace and so much happiness that this government is doing so much for us. आप
I
जब तक टॉम
agree.
टॉम नहीं करेंगे, till unless you tom about your work, next time I will vote for you.
No, I agree. I
You
agree.
need
Certain things you can't. That, of course, I get. That part I get, that you can't
Mhm.
reveal everything because end of the day, it's national security. But then certain things, I think the people, it's good if the people know, because the people also
They
need
should
to
know.
know. They
It's their
should know.
money. I am
Correct?
paying for it. I'm
Correct.
paying for it. You will not tell me.
It's not just your money, it's also about how much of hard work, dedication, sacrifice is involved in an operation like this, and how many people are kind of working so hard in making sure that India
You
is
know, I
safe. Just a couple of last questions I have for you. Do you think India would risk, I mean, hypothetically, if India were to go with the Su-57s, do you think we risk any kind of US sanctions under the CATSA?
no,
Okay.
no, not at all.
So even hypothetically, you think that that is
No,
a
not at all.
low
Not at all.
probability. Okay.
No, we bought S-400. Post, we
If
bought C-130 and C-7 Galaxy in Apache.
so, what is
So
happening with the S500s? Because there was some news in the media that came out. Is that something that's again
after induction of
stalled?
S-400, let me tell you this, Urmiji, we have the technology to make S-600 also ourselves.
Really?
Our missile
Okay.
technology is, let me tell everyone who's listening to this podcast, our missile technology is very good. Very good. We are only few countries in the world who have um, BMD, ballistic missile defense. And that ballistic missile defense technology is ours, not we didn't buy from anybody.
Have we reached a stage where we have privatized? Do you think more privatization will
Very good
help?
question. Very good question. Not everything is made by ISRO. In fact, nothing is made by ISRO. We
Okay.
have our vendors. So one vendor does say control vane, actuator mechanism of the right side of the missile. There is another vendor who makes the left side of the missile. Right wala doesn't know who's making left. Left wala doesn't know who's making right. Both of them don't know what are they making it for. That is the kind of beauty we have. They make something. So we give them a drawing. We tell them, please make this and give us. This and give us. What is this? They don't know. I know this is my ear ka ye cup ka ye hai. When I fix it, it becomes this. But they don't know what they are making this for. And they are not interested either.
So, that's about it for today. I still have a whole host of questions, but I think today we are
We are
a bit
70
out of
minutes
time.
and ऐसा लग रहा है कि 7 मिनट बात कर रहे हैं हम.
I know it. Time just flew by. I think we have to do more because there are a couple of things which you said that an entire podcast is required for that. Um, I hope to sit down with you another time and probably do a part two and a part three of this continuation of this. I would absolutely love that. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to know so much about this, and I'd love to know more. So thank you so much, Dr. Vinod, for your time this morning, this Sunday morning, and I look forward to sitting down with you again and continuing with
Pranam to
this
you, to
conversation.
your viewers, your family, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.